Welcome to the Mystic Access Podcast, where the magic is in learning. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mystic Access Podcast for June 24th, 2025. He's Chris.
She's Kim.
And we have a few different topics to discuss today. Primarily discussion, although we will have a little bit of demo. But first, we have some important announcements to share.
Starting today, the audio documentation from Mystic Access will be going on sale for 30% off in honor for the summer conventions.
Yes.
And it will end July 14th.
Yes. So if you are listening to this podcast, you can participate in this sale as long as it is not past July 14th.
Right.
So you're welcome to check out everything we have to offer there. And we will be doing some updates to some things as the year progresses, but right now you kind of get what you get, and we aren't going to really be available for phone calls much over the next little bit because we are off to the ACB convention in Dallas. So we will be away for that. If you choose to order hardware, it's not on sale, but if you do choose to order hardware, it will be a bit before we can process your order. So please know that in advance, and that is something that we will help you with upon our return. But we are going to be away for a few weeks. So please note that when we get back in late August, we'll say late August because it's the 20-something of August when we get home, we will be processing those orders. So if you don't mind waiting and you want a good deal, because a lot of our hardware is a pretty good deal, you are welcome to go ahead and order, and then we will get with you as soon as we get back. I'll certainly send out emails if anyone orders hardware and just remind them of this. So if you know friends who perhaps order and aren't podcast listeners, no worries. I will make sure to get back to each and every person who orders hardware and let them know that that's something to keep in mind. But we definitely recommend the hardware that we do have. We've got some good deals, especially our cables. So those are fun, but primarily this is to show off what we do best, which is our audio. So you're welcome to go ahead and get those orders placed, and as long as you don't order physical hardware, they will be processed as quickly as possible. And that's actually a good thing to remind you of. If you're ordering physical hardware for your audio, like a thumb drive or a cartridge or an SD card, again, we won't be available to process that. So
Meaning shipping out.
Your order will be processed. If you're ordering a digital product, your order will be processed. If you order a digital product with an add-on, like an SD card or a flash drive, it will be processed. You just won't get your flash drive for a little while, or your SD card. So if you have someone available to help you download, that's probably your best bet so that you can get your stuff sooner. We will do our best to get flash drives and SD cards and things as needed while we were in North Carolina, but we can't make any guarantees, so just know that things may be slow to ship in terms of physical media.
Let's talk a second about why.
Yep.
So we are going to our summer house in North Carolina directly from conventions, and we're going to stay there. Mm-hmm. Now, we may or may not have decent internet access, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Yep. So just keep in mind if things are a little slow, if you're kind of slow in getting responses, I try and be pretty snappy, especially when it comes to email responses. I try and get you same day or next business day. If that doesn't happen, you'll know why. You'll know that our internet is a wee bit slow. Right. So we'll just have to see. We don't know yet. And again, we'll get back to that.
Or maybe non-existent.
Yeah, let's hope not. Because that will change our plans, but let's hope not. So sales to come, and we're looking forward to that. They're starting now, as he said, as of the debut of this podcast. The sales are up, and you're welcome to go get yourself a deal.
So for those that have been in the know or care, because I just talked to my mom and I asked her if she watched the WDC event for Apple, and I knew the answer. The answer was no.
Right.
So just to let people know that that is a thing now, they have interesting features that, you know, are going to come in iOS 26. So they jumped from iOS 18 to iOS 26. So what happened to 19 through 25? They're just gone.
They're just gone because what they want to do is get everything on the same version number. So, you know, if your watch is running, say, let's say a couple years down the road, your watch is running 27 and your phone is running 28, then you probably need to update your watch because it needs a new firmware version.
Right, if you can.
If it lets you.
Right. But what they're doing is, anybody remember Windows 95?
Oh my goodness.
So Microsoft did it. They went from years 95, 98 2000 to Millennium, XP, and Vista, and whatever.
7.
Right.
Don't forget 7.
Don't forget 7. 7 was probably one of the better ones.
By far.
And so they changed from years to numbers. And it's kind of an interesting article that I read. I want to say it was Mac Rumors or 9 to 5 Mac, one of those two, that was talking about why Apple changed their...
If you find it, send it to me and I'll put it in the show notes for people.
Yeah. So it's one of those interesting things where they want you to know when something was released. I don't know how many times I ask our assistants, when was iOS 10 released? Okay, well, if it was iOS 2011 or 11, as they're not putting the 20 in there, they assume that it's 2026, I guess. But they're doing this so that you know when something is released. You know when the iOS or the tvOS or watchOS are all released. So they want to bring them under the same version number so you don't have iOS 18, watchOS 12, and iPadOS, whatever.
Wherever we are now. I don't even know.
Right. Well, iPadOS and iOS are pretty much the same. So there's no difference there. It's the difference in the watchOS, the tvOS, and I think it's Vision OS.
That sounds right.
For the headgear thing, I don't really follow that too much.
It was a really interesting WDC, though. It was really fun to listen to because everything is getting some updates.
Yes. Mac OS, and you're going to have a workout buddy in your...
My favorite. And my watch.
Which is kind of fun. You're going to have a voice that's going to kind of cheer you on. Kind of fun.
Sometimes you need that extra motivation.
You probably do.
I know I do.
Just, because you and Chillbot and me and Chillbot are no longer close in our steps.
But you and I are very close in our steps. Thank you very much.
We are.
We are. We've been doing really good. We're usually about maybe 100 or 200 steps apart by the end of the day in general.
Which is fun.
Which is cool. So we're both doing much better. So say sometimes these competitive apps, they help you compete with one another, or in our case, compete with Chillbot and ActiveBot as well, can be really fun. They can be really helpful. And if you missed that episode and are wondering what the heck we're talking about, go back to the previous episode.
It was the previous episode, I believe.
The previous to the previous?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because the last episode we talked about the smoke detectors.
That's right.
And we dedicated that whole episode to smoke detectors.
Yes.
Because it's really important. I'm just going to illustrate right now that if you don't know how old your smoke detector is, you might want to replace it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you really have no memory of when you put that in, it's probably time to replace it.
Because they do expire.
They do expire.
Speaking of expiring, last year, as some of you know, we went to our summer home and spent 2.5 months there. And then came the hurricane.
Oh, yes. We were 10 days home when the hurricane hit.
Right. So anyway, what happened is a lot of cable networks were no longer cable networks. Poles blew down, poles disappeared, stuff like that.
Towns disappeared.
Right. But the only thing I'm interested in right this very second, because you could go relive that podcast if you want to.
You could, and you can relive plenty of hurricane things, but I am from the hardest hit county in North Carolina. So that gives you an idea.
Right. So we called the cable provider in the beginning of May, so that we can get set up for the summer. Because we had to decide, are we going to come back home or are we going to go to NC directly from the convention?
And my dad was hilarious. He's like, you can take a direct flight from Dallas straight here to our closest regional airport.
Right.
And that made me laugh.
Right.
Because the fact that he would even think about that is really funny. He's not a flyer.
He's not.
He's not.
But that worked out.
Yeah.
So called them. They wanted to activate our service, but they couldn't because the pole was gone. To make a really long, drawn-out story short, we finally called them and canceled the service because they were saying, call us later, in a week, call us later in a week, and we were running out of weeks.
Yes, several weeks had gone by.
Right.
Probably 4 or 5 of them easily.
So we had to know, do we buy plane tickets? Do we buy whatever? Where are we going? You have to kind of know where that is, and it's all dependent on having the internet.
Definitely.
Right.
We can't go without the internet. Won't work.
So the next venture was to...
find an alternative.
Right.
And this was a small... Now, you have to understand, the county only has one major cable internet provider. And when I say major, I mean one. There's only one. It is a small company, is poorly rated, and it's the only game in town for cable internet. And it's the only thing that's going to get you, in terms of cable internet, any kinds of speeds, because it's it. You don't have some of the bigger names. You don't have Spectrum. You don't have, Fios. You don't have any of the big names. So you're stuck with that if you are dealing with cable internet. That's your only option. And for us, it was not an option because they refused to fix our cable.
I don't think they refused to fix it. They said they were going to fix it, but they were taking their sweet time.
The last guy we talked to pretty much said he refused to fix it. He was difficult.
Well, yeah. I mean, he said basically, quote, "We don't own the property," quote.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
The poles.
Which was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Anyway.
So, whatever. But overall, the people we talked to were very nice. And our retention person was very nice. She was really helpful and gave us some good information. But we did not want to risk being charged because we still had an open, active account. And that was the problem. That's why we ultimately canceled. It wasn't even necessarily that we weren't willing to wait, although we weren't at this point for this summer. But we did not want to suddenly be charged because the way this all began is we thought we had been charged. We were actually told by a representative there that we had been charged. And we had no internet. They couldn't charge us because our service, while our account was open, our pole was down. And we knew this.
Right.
So the whole thing was just crazy. And so at the end, it was a relief to cancel and say, well, if we can rejoin, we will. And we had asked our retention person at the end, can we rejoin whenever we want? Can we just open our account again?
And she said we could because we were a good account
in good standing.
In good standing.
Yeah.
So that worked out.
So that kind of clarifies the story a little bit for y'all so you get an idea where we're coming from here.
Right.
So we had no more cable internet options to go with. So we went on a little adventure.
Right. So I thought, well, since it works, we thought we would try Starlink satellite service. And I heard it's pretty accessible to get configured, once you're configured. The problem is aiming the dish and putting a hole in your house to connect the dish to your modem or whatever it was.
And initial install of the dish.
Which is okay. Whatever. That is what it is. So I went on Starlink's website, found the address. It said you could have service there. And it said, buy now. So I said, okay, I'm just going to buy now and see how it works. The problem is that it was $300 for the equipment, which I understand. I understand $300 for the equipment. But then it was a $500 on-demand surcharge. Whatever an on-demand surcharge is, that's what it was. So due today, $800 plus.
This did not include tax. This did not include any service at all. This was strictly for the equipment.
Pretty much, yes. And that service charge. So it didn't include the monthly fee of either $80 or $120, depending on which part of the service you got. So I said, no, I'm not doing this. Not for 6 weeks.
No, absolutely not.
Right. And we still weren't sure if it was going to work.
Yep. Because we had been researching it, and a lot of people said, nope, didn't work for me.
A lot of people did say it worked for them. So
not in that area.
But it's who you believe.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of pieces and parts that go into your setup, your install, and getting things set and all the things. And also where we are, the wind is a definite factor. It is not unusual to get 50 or 60 mile per hour winds. And
trees might be waving in front of you.
Trees might be waving, and the dish might be waving, and who knows? So that wasn't an option. We were like, nope, not happening. So we only really had one option left.
That's internet over cellular service.
So explain how this works. How does this differ from cable internet and satellite internet?
Basically, I heard someone explain it to me, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's kind of like a portable hotspot. So if you have a hotspot on your phone, you turn it on, you access internet. It's kind of like that. It's a little box that is strictly used as home internet. So you have no data caps, you have no speed caps. Basically, this is your internet service. And it's a little box. Probably, if I had to guess, it's like 6 by 6 by 6. It's a little cube, or 7 by 6 by 6 or something. It's a cube. And it's got 2 Ethernet ports on it, at least the version or model that we saw. And it's got a power supply. You put it near a window and you plug it in. And if everything is great and everything is wonderful and your service is working,
and the stars align,
you get internet. Now, you would need sighted assistance to set it up because you would need either one of two things depending on how you are. You would need the Wi-Fi name and the Wi-Fi password that is on a sticker on the device. so that you can connect your products to this hotspot, and it now becomes your internet service. The other thing you may need, if you're like us, you may need the router's actual password. So what I did was we had it sent here, and I fired it up. 5 to 10 minutes later, it
was about 10 minutes.
Boot up sequence, and from my desktop, I saw the Wi-Fi, connected to the Wi-Fi, put in the Wi-Fi password, and then went to the router's IP address. And some of this is way over some people, but that's okay. I was then able to change the name and password of the Wi-Fi to something that I wanted. And the reason I did this was because we were smart this time. We sent it ahead of time. It is actually supposed to arrive today, and the in-laws are going to put it in the window, fire it up, and if the stars and everything are aligned, it's going to have access to the internet, and our stuff that we left there will also connect to the internet without us having to reconfigure them.
We will definitely put in a post-production note to let y'all know, because the day we're recording is obviously not the day you are hearing this.
Right. So that's what we decided to do. Verizon has this internet service. AT&T has this internet service.
T-Mobile.
And T-Mobile also has this internet service, which I thought it was kind of an interesting idea. It's not going to be as fast as what we currently have here, but it's going to work out.
But you and I were actually surprised at the speeds, because we were streaming video. We did a video call together with both of us on video, and we were actually surprised that the speeds were as low as they were when we did a speed test on it.
Yeah, it was 100 down, I think.
It was 50 down.
Oh, it was 50 down. That's right, it was.
50 and 5.
The speed test. It was 50 and 5.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually very surprised how well everything was working and zipping along. Now, for whatever it's worth, if it means anything, we were getting 5G here. It is not a 5G router.
We were not getting 5G.
Oh, we were not?
No, because if it was 5G, it would have been a heck of a lot faster.
Okay.
So we were not getting 5G. We were getting 4G LTE, which is what we paid for, which is what the Verizon, is who we went through, said that would work at that address.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see.
We shall see.
We'll go there, and it should be running for at least a few weeks by itself. I should be able to control my vacuum. If I had cameras there, which I don't, if I had cameras there, they would automatically have connected, and some of the stuff that we've already have there that are home automation things would work.
Our ALEXA, for instance, would work. I think they'd have to be plugged in, but they would work.
Right.
That kind of stuff. Our GOGLE would work.
Yes.
So, hopefully, this is going to work well. And I was actually talking to somebody yesterday about the benefits of this. If you can't drill holes in your walls, so you're renting, either house, apartment, condo, whatever, this could be a good option for you. Especially if you're in an area where you can get 5G.
Right.
What we had to do for our box, and it kind of looks like a bread box. It's a cube. It's kind of a chunky little square thing. What ours does is when it's ready to receive signal, when it's receiving signal properly, it will have a white solid light on top. And of course, you'll see your cell bars and you'll see your Wi-Fi bars as well. If it is not working where you currently have it sitting, you will see a red light, solid red light on top.
This assumes you have vision enough to see lights.
Right. But you could ask a visual assistant or a friend or
whatever,
whomever to check it out. You could do FaceTime or Zoom or Meet or any number of things and find out from somebody else what your light looks like.
Well, you can't do any of those if your internet's not working.
You can use data on your phone if you have it.
There are ways around it.
Yep.
But, that gives you an idea of, maybe this would be an option for you depending on what you're looking for in an internet. And like Kim said, that's great if you're renting. You just pop that thing by a window. You don't have to drill any holes in walls and things like that.
Absolutely. So we were pretty impressed. At least here we were pretty impressed. And we will be anxious to see what this is like, if it's going to be a viable solution for us. We sure hope it is, because it's going to ruin our summer. If it's not, and we're going to change all our plans, and that's not going to be fun. So we are crossing everything that it will work well for us. And if it does, I will feel really good about recommending this for anyone in a more rural, remote area who may not have lots of options.
So we just wanted to let you know that the home internet service over cellular did work.
It did. We're very, very happy. And we had to make sure everything was unplugged that would have interfered with it. And then we plugged it in. And it took less than 10 minutes, ironically enough. Because for us, every time it took 10 minutes. but not so when we were trying it there.
We weren't there.
We weren't there.
And what had happened is that you want to make sure that if you're using or replacing your internet, that your old stuff is powered off and gone. If you're using the same name and password.
Yeah, the same SSID and password.
Right. So if you use the same SSID and password, hopefully your stuff will connect to it. And as a matter of fact, the little robot vacuum that we have there connected to it, and I was able to update its firmware. So
show them. That's really cute.
We know for a fact that it's working. So I can say something like, "Hey Google, where's Scout?"
All right, locating Scout.
So if we were there, it would say, "Hi, I'm over here."
Yep, we would have heard Scout.
But because it said locating Scout, that means that it is online and it can connect to the internet. If it wasn't online, it would have said something like Scout is not responding, blah, blah, blah. Now, I could say something like, "Hey, Google, start Scout."
Got it. Starting Scout.
So it's literally starting to vacuum. "Hey, Google, send Scout to the dock."
All right, docking Scout.
Now we're just going to hope and pray that it's...
that actually worked.
Yes, but it was actually controlling it. So that's kind of cool. So that's kind of a post update to let you know that it did work. Now we have other things there that connect to the internet. They're not online, but I bet you they are unplugged.
Yep, that's my guess, that more stuff is unplugged. We have ALEXAs, we have a GOOGLE voice assistant, we've got air purifiers, we have a fan. I think we have a fan.
I think the fan. Maybe the fan is online. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know, now that I sit here and think about it. But yes, so we are very happy to report that it worked, and we're now excited because we can take our trip and not have to worry about it and not be freaked out. And we will have a lot of updating of things to do when we get there, but it'll be fine. And we've got the weekend the way we planned the trip, and we will be online. Yay!
Just a note. Your parents tried something like this to get TV when they didn't have cable service because of the hurricane.
Yep.
Right.
It took them at least 6 weeks to get their TV and internet back.
Now, they're older generation.
Yep.
And they went to the store and they talked to probably a 20-something.
Probably.
And her father said, "Can I use this to watch TV?" And the guy says, "Absolutely, you can." Now, that's true. However, he forgot to tell this elderly gentleman that you need a streaming service and it's not going to be traditional cable.
It doesn't magically tie in with any existing or new magical cable service to make your cable work. That's not how it works.
Right. It's what I'm getting at is that it's really no different than you having cable, internet service, or fiber service, or even satellite service, and watching TV. You would need to use a streaming service like YouTube TV or Hulu Live or Philo or any of these streaming services. Mm-hmm. So your father didn't understand.
No. And in fact, when we talked to them, they were trying to somehow connect it to their TV. It's like, no. That's not what you do with it.
It's not what you do with it. It's your internet service provider. So it'll be interesting for us to show him how it works.
Yes, because we will still be able to use our Roku TV that we actually purchased for there with this service. No problem.
Right.
But it is not connected to cable, obviously.
Right.
We run YouTube TV through it. We run Philo through it, I think. We run, other things through it. So, and of course, the nice thing about the Roku TVs is they have tons of free content as well. So always something to watch.
Yeah, but you just have to keep that in mind. It's an internet service provider.
It's not a cable provider.
Right, but it's through the cell phone.
Yeah.
Or the cell service, not cell phone.
Right, self-service.
Also, you might want to look at if you are thinking of this kind of solution. I know that Verizon will give you discounts if you had like Verizon service and you had this type of thing. They'll give you discounts, so it'll be cheaper too to have a cell phone and this service.
Absolutely. So definitely check into that. Or, as we were mentioning earlier, as Chris said, you can get this through T-Mobile or AT&T. So if you have one of those services, then that might work better for you in your area, and you can check, and if you already use them for your cell plan, again, discounts may be a thing T-Mobile, in fact, just started releasing like fancy new home internet things.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that works.
Fairly recently. Yeah. So definitely check with your provider, or if you have a store, give them a call or go by there so you can talk to a rep directly. And hopefully someone can give you some information because, as I said, we use hardcore internet all around here because we have to upload a lot of audio and, they're WAV files and they're big. They're not video. We don't play so much with video for ourselves around here. And we don't game, but we do a lot with audio. And so we use the internet intensely. And we were actually surprised that the speeds of the Verizon home router were working as well for us as they were. We were pretty impressed.
It's still going to be slow to upload like podcasts and stuff.
Oh,
so
yes.
when we edit the podcasts, it's going to be a little slower to get those up because we're so used to what we currently have here.
Yes.
And you wanted to talk a little bit about reading books.
I do. And let me tell you what brought this about for me. I was looking for something on my Audible wish list because I am an Audible member. And I use my wish list like crazy. He always teases me about my wish lists because my Bard wish list and my Audible wish list have lots of books on them. And he's like, oh, I hear the creak. I hear the creak of the wish list.
You add another one and that wish list is going to take their whole system down.
So I do have big wish lists. And I have lots of different Bookshare wish lists. I mean, I'm kind of the queen of the wish list. I like them very much. There's so many books in so little time, which is very refreshing and lovely. But man, it's really true. So I had this book on my Audible wish list. And I thought, I want to see how much it is because last week, as of the recording of this podcast, so sometime in early June, there was a huge site-wide Audible sale. And a whole bunch of stuff was really cheap. I bought like 15 books for $30. I mean, it was crazy. So there was a book on my wish list, and I really wanted it. And I thought, I want to see how much this is. And I went to look at it, and it was gone. It was no longer available. There was no way to get it. It was not available on Audible anymore. So I had to remove it from my wish list. And then I had to go on a hunt through the internet to try and find a way to get my book. And after some searching, I was finally led to audiobooks.com. Now, I don't know anything about this site, except that it is created apparently by a company in Sweden. And I've never used it before. I've heard about it because apparently, I believe, you can access it through your Sonos system. So if you use a Sonos, this is something that you, at least at one point, could connect to your Sonos. And the author that I was looking for, her books were available through audiobooks.com, although they were no longer on Audible. I had also found them, ironically enough, through things like Google Play and things like that. But it was the German site. And I found them somewhere else. And I was like, oh, I'll try this. And again, it wasn't in English. So I was like, okay, I guess this is literally the only way I can find currently to obtain this book. So I ended up buying 2 of her books from audiobooks.com. And they offer credits like Audible does, or you can just buy books straight out.
Like you can on
not
Audible.
order a credit like you can with Audible. So I wasn't really ready to say, well, I'm going to have another monthly service because right now I can't. No way. So I just decided to buy these books and check out the app because I'd never seen the app before. I was a little nervous and wasn't really sure what I was in for. So I bought the books and ended up downloading the app. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a tour to show you what this app is all about. Now, in terms of comparing it to Audible, again, you have credits so that you can get credits. They have something called their VIP section. And I think you can get either lower priced or even free titles through their VIP section. Some people really like this. They think it's cool. Credits, I'm trying to remember, I think they might cost a bit more than Audible's credits. We'll take a peek in a second and see if we can find out any information about this. But I wanted to show you how the app worked in case it's something that interests you. I'm going to show you the iOS version, although you can certainly get it on Android as well. I'm only showing you this one because this is the one that I downloaded first on my phone for my books, because this is the phone that I would normally take upstairs and check out at night. And the books I got are nature sounds. So I wanted to just take them upstairs and be able to chill out with them at night.
Audiobooks button.
So off recording, I've looked for the app, and I think I found it here, so let's take a peek. It's called Audiobooks.
Audiobooks. Home heading.
So we have home heading,
Home heading.
and we're at the top. Let's go down to the bottom of the screen. I'll show you the 5 tabs.
Tab bar selected. Current tab home. Tab 3 of 5.
And I went to the middle because home is in the middle of the group of tabs. So if we go to the left of home,
Browse. Tab 2 of 5.
we have Browse,
My library. Tab 1 of 5.
and My Library is the first tab. If we go back to the right,
Browse. Selected. Current tab home. Tab 3 of 5.
and that's pretty cool. It does say selected current tab is home.
Upgrade. Tab. 4 of 5.
There's the upgrade tab. So if I wanted a monthly credit or monthly service, paid subscription, I could do that by upgrading.
Search. Tab. 5 of 5.
And there is search. So let's go back to the top.
Home. Heading.
Because while some of this works great, there is a lot to be desired as well. So let's see what we've got here.
Profile. Button.
There's your profile. So you can learn about your payment info and things like that.
Featured. Button.
There's featured.
Wish list. Button.
Of course, the wish list.
Tap to view the 7. Tap to view the Phoenix Pencil Company, a novel by Allison King.
Oh, that's interesting. Phoenix Pencil Company, huh?
Tap to view the 7. Tap to view featured content.
And I went to the left because I thought it had moved me, and it did. So that's more featured content.
Tap to view Page Boy, a memoir by Elliot Page. Tap to view Page Boy. Tap to view featured content. Wish list. Button.
So I was just moving to the left. Let's go back to the right.
Tap to view featured content. Tap to view the 7 Habits of. Tap to view the Phoenix Pencil Company, a novel by Allison King. Tap to view featured content. Tap to view Page Boy. Illustrations.
It looks like the content is above the book. The button for the content that you want to view, the extra content, is above the book when you're going from left to right.
Recommended for you. Fourth Wing, Rebecca Yarros. Soundtracks, The Surprising Solution to Overthinking, John A. Guff. The Killing Game, an Alexa Chase suspense thriller, Book 1, Kate Bold. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Serpents, an unofficial Harry Potter parody, An American Muggle in Slytherin House, M.J. Ware.
Oh, how
The
funny.
Subtle Art of Not Giving a F stars.
I saw that the other day. Notice how it's just reading them all to me in one big row? So if I go to the right from here,
Illustrations.
here's where we run into problems.
Sign. Grass. Sign.
These are books,
Grass.
but it's not really telling me anything. So let's click on one.
An Alexa Chase suspense thriller, button.
Okay, so we've got a book, and I think it's open. Let's see.
Page 1 of 6. Page 1 of 6. Top of.
Let's try and go to the top.
An Alexa Chase suspense thriller, button.
Okay,
Profile, button. Back, button.
so there's back at the top,
Back, but profile, button.
profile.
Suspense thriller, button. An Alexa Chase suspense thriller, button. An Alexa Chase suspense thriller. Double tap to show more options for this title.
So we can show more options. Let's see what we have here.
The Killing Game, an Alexa Chase suspense thriller.
Okay, that's the name of it.
The Killing, Kate Bold.
There's the author.
4.5 out of 5 stars. 6 hours. Play. Download. Add to wish list. Rate/review. Follow. Author, Kate Bold.
So we can follow the author.
Narrator, Justin Price. Series, an Alexa Chase suspense thriller.
I assume follow would follow the author or maybe the series, but probably the author.
Close, button.
Ah, and there's close. So that's what we have in this group right here.
Close, button.
Let's close this.
Back, button. Profile, an Alexa Chase suspense thriller. An Alexa Chase suspense thriller.
I'm very sorry her name is ALDXA, by the way, y'all. That wasn't something we expected.
Double tap to show more options for this title.
So that's where we just were.
8 ratings. 5.0 stars. Button. 8 ratings. Unpronounceable. An Alexa Chase suspense thriller. Button.
I don't know why it says unpronounceable.
An Alexa Chase suspense thriller. Double tap to show more options for this title.
Oh, and I wonder if it moved me up.
525 ratings. 4.5 stars. Button.
Oh, that's interesting. It said 8, and now it says 500 and something.
Because there's 8
525
5-star
Alexa Chase
ratings
suspense thriller.
and 400 and some odd 4.5 or something.
Oh, good call.
That's
An Alexa
what I
Chase
would
suspense
think.
thriller.
That makes sense.
Double tap to show more options for 8 ratings. 8 ratings. Unpronounceable.
It seems like it's moving me, though.
12 ratings. 12 ratings. Unpronounceable. The Killing Hour. An Alexa Chase suspense
Oh, there are
thriller.
more.
Upgrade to listen. Button.
So is this one the Killing Game or the Killing Hour? I'm kind of even confused as to which book I'm in. Anyway,
Author.
we can upgrade to listen.
Kate Bold. Button.
There's the author.
Read by Tim Alexander. Button. Released June 14th, 2022.
I'm just going to the right.
7 hours, 2 minutes. Series, number 3 in an Alexa Chase suspense thriller. Button. Series. Alexa Chase suspense thriller.
Sorry, cut that off, but that's the series.
Play. Button.
Now, when it says play here,
Download. Button.
and I assume download, this is for the sample.
Wish list. Button.
You can put it on your wish list again.
Debut author Kate Bold is author of the Alexa Chase suspense thriller series, comprising 3 books and counting. Please click here to join the mailing list and receive free ebooks, hear the latest news, and stay in touch. Also feel free to email Kate at kataboldauthor.com.
Well, that's cool.
Member ratings and reviews.
So I'm actually surprised it doesn't seem to have a synopsis.
Title. Narrator. 3.5. 4.5.
So it didn't read that for some reason, but the title has
Title. 4.5.
4.5.
Narrator. 3.5. Rate this title. 1 star. Button.
You can rate.
2
straight
stars,
from here.
But 3 star, 4 star, 5 stars. Button. Write a review. Button.
Write a review.
Members who purchased this title. How was the narrator? Tap to view Lisa T.
So here's Lisa T.
1 star. Button. 2 stars. Button.
Now that's interesting.
3 stars. Button. Series. Number 3 in an Alexa Chase suspense thriller.
Oh, did it move me again?
Play. Button.
I think it did.
It did. It's refreshing.
It's refreshing. It's
iOS
moving.
does a wonderful job at doing
Wonderful
that.
job. And I don't think we have
Words.
my favorite way to
Narrative
navigate.
voices, Screen headings. Heading not found.
Nope.
Heading not
Nope,
found.
we don't. So that makes this a little tricky. Now, if you were to hit play to listen to the sample for this, you could listen to the sample. The last sample I listened to was about 3 minutes, so it's not as long as Audible samples, in general at least. And at the very end, it made a little sound, it made a little tone, and it says, upgrade for more, or upgrade to hear more, or upgrade to listen, something like that. And then it was kind of advertising that I could upgrade, because again, I don't have any kind of monthly plan here. So that's how this works. I want to show you one more book, though, before we travel on to another tab.
Audiobooks.
I would really love to see that Harry Potter parody. So
7
let's
hours,
see
2 minutes. Back.
if I can get to it.
Back. Home. Heading.
Oh, of course, it's going to put me at the top. Ugh.
Grass. Illustration. Recommended. Sign. Sign.
Let's try this one.
Double tap to show more options for this title. Back. But profile. Double tap to show 6,904 ratings. 4.5 stars. Button. Double tap.
It's a
to
little
show
annoying because it doesn't tell me the title necessarily.
The subtle art of not giving a F star.
Oh, this isn't the one.
That's not the right one.
Back. Button. Back.
It would be the one right before this one.
Sign.
So let's see.
Club.
Wish I'd counted.
Sign. Unprint. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Serpents. An unofficial Harry Potter parody. An American Muggle in Slytherin house.
Okay, I found it. So I had to go through a couple books to get here. So I'm in the book.
Upgrade to listen. Button. Author. MJ Ware. But read by Alex Beckham. Button. Released September 24th, 2019. 3 hours, 40 minutes. Play. Button. Download. Button. Wish list. Button. Austin comes to England knowing as an American he'll stick out at his new school. But when an Erndale lands him at Hogwarts, he's in for more than he expected. If it's not hard enough being the only American at Hogwarts, Austin sorted into the most despised of all the houses. Then bumbling around the dungeon while trying to find his common room, he unwittingly helps the monster from the Chamber of Serpents. Will he discover the secret of the chamber before he becomes another victim of he who must not be named?
Cute. So just wanted to show you that one. In fact, this one does have a description. I'm not sure if the other one just passed it, didn't focus me on it, didn't have it, don't know. So let's go back.
Back. Button. Back. Home.
And let's at least look at the Browse tab and see if maybe possibly we can actually see some real books.
Tab bar. My library. Tab. 1 of 5.
The library is kind of as you would expect. It's a library. It's got your books. You can play from there. Oh, that leads to a good point, though. You cannot download books out of this app. You can download them for offline listening, but you cannot download them and burn them onto a disk or put them somewhere or anything like that. That's nothing new, though.
Browse. Tab. 2 of 5.
Let's go in here and go to the top.
Browse. Heading. Profile. Button. Browse. Button. Free books. Button.
Oh, looky here.
Recommendations. Button. Books with buzz. Mystery. Thriller and horror. Romance. Biography and memoir. Self-development. Better in audio. Fiction. Non-fiction. Plus see more. Button. Most listened last month. The Tenant. Frida McFadden. Onyx Storm. 1 of 2 dramatized adaptation. The Emperor 3. Rebecca Yarros. Never Flinch. A novel. Stephen King.
See what it's doing here? It's reading all those in a row. I'm not going anywhere.
Forward. Button.
Then there's forward.
Sign.
And again,
Sign.
we have this funness.
Illustrations. Sign. Grass. Plant.
So you would have to kind of memorize the order of those books that it was reading a second ago and figure out which one you wanted to go into.
Sign. Adult. Most anticipated audiobooks. Not yet rated. Hazel Says No. A novel. Jessica Berger Gross. 10 hours. When a tight-knit family moves from Brooklyn to Maine. Their lives are upended by an event that will alter their new community forever in this big-hearted, sparkling debut for fans of Now Is Not the Time to Panic, Pineapple Street, and Schitt's Creek. Hazel Bloom. Please report to the principal's office. Hazel Bloom. When Hazel Bloom's father gets a tenured job at a prestigious college, she and her family relocate from the hustle and bustle of Brooklyn to a middle-of-nowhere college town in Maine. With her mother, Claire, a clothing designer, and her father, Gus, an American studies professor, Hazel and her 11-year-old brother, Wolf, spend the summer at the town pool, where they...
So it gives us a nice long description for this one. And I assume that if I clicked on this right here, it would take me into it. We'll just check real quick.
Double tap to show more options for this title.
Because there's really nothing else I want to show you in Browse anyway.
Back, but profile, but double tap to show add review. 0 add review.
Now, isn't this strange? It took me straight to add review.
Coming soon. Hazel Says No, a novel.
Oh, coming soon.
Coming soon.
That's because it's most anticipated. It's not here yet.
Upgrade to listen. Button. Author.
And again,
Jessica Berger Gross. Button.
now if I wanted to see more books by her, I could click her name right here. So let's go back.
Back. Button. Back. Most anticipated audiobooks. Not yet rated.
And nicely enough, it did not take me to the top. It took me straight to where I was. That's cool.
Forward. Button. Sign.
And again, we have this forward thing.
Illustrate. Adult. Nonfiction listens for pride. Page Boy. A memoir.
So then we have Pride Listens. And obviously this stuff will change. Let's show you one more thing. And this is search.
Tab bar. Search. Tab. 5 of 5.
It's the 5th tab.
Search audiobooks.com. Text field.
Yay! And you can just open it up and do a search. So if you're looking for anything specific, this may be an easy peasy way to find it.
Search. Heading. Profile. Button.
And again, we got the profile thing.
Text field. Perform search. Button.
We have a perform search button.
Q.
And that's really all that's here. There's not anything fancy. I don't know if it would auto-complete my search with something if I started typing. So if I type something like Pride and want Pride and Prejudice.
L. P. P.
Or something for Pride Month.
E. R. R. I. I. D. D. R. E. E. Search.
And hit search.
Search. Adult. Sign.
Uh-oh.
Unpronounceable. Pride. J. D. Hollyfield.
Well, we did get a book called Pride.
7 hours. Fence. Grass. Not yet rated. Pride. A novel. Natalie Keller Reinert. 9 hours. People. Unpronounceable. Pride. A bad boy and Amish girl romance.
Oh my.
Sienna Valentine. 6 hours. Not yet rated. Pride. The 7 Deadly Sins. Christian Vandergroot.
So we got some books here that you could check out, but what I didn't do was
Search. Profile.
look in the search
Heading.
as I was
Search.
searching.
Heading.
Oh,
Profile. Pride.
there
Text
it is.
field.
So if I were
Insertion pointed
in here and I wanted to type and,
Space. Space.
A.
A. Space. N. N.
N.
D.
D, and go up.
Logo other. Button. Logo. Button. Logo other.
Oh,
Button. Logo other.
nothing helpful up here.
Button. Logo other.
So see what I mean? Some of it works great and some of it is not so great. But it does work. You can more or less use it. And if you're just wanting to play stuff in your library, you'll be just fine. That stuff isn't an issue. The library part works great. So that is the audiobooks app for audiobooks.com, available for iOS and Android.
Before we leave, I just wanted to give a quick tip, rather.
It is a good tip.
Well, it is. I received an email in French the other day, and I thought, well, this was on my PC. So I thought, well, I'll select all, copy to the clipboard. I'll go into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT, translate to English, and then I pasted the contents of the email and hit, search or whatever it is. And ChatGPT was able to translate that email from French to English, which I thought was really, really cool.
It is very, very cool. It's just another way to translate your material. And that actually segues back nicely to what we were talking about at the beginning. There's a bunch of new translation features in iOS 26. So that will help in many, many ways, whether we're traveling, live translation, yes. So that will be really exciting to watch as we get closer and find out more. So yeah, it's always good to be able to translate stuff, or if you're learning a language or talking to someone in another language and maybe do translation back, whatever that is, then it's so great to have options now. It's real cool.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So hopefully our episode has not been lost in translation and you found something here enjoyable. And we will be back in July. I don't know how that's possible, but we will be back in July to talk with y'all more. And if you are going to convention, now is our time to wish you well and have a great, safe trip. Lots of fun. Learn a lot. And we will be hanging out as well in Dallas. So we will see y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
The preceding podcast is a presentation of Mystic Access, where the magic is in learning. If you are blind or visually impaired and wish to experience less stress and more fun on your unique assistive technology journey, our comprehensive audio documentation and additional offerings are here to support you. We welcome your visit at mysticaccess.com. That's mysticaccess.com. Have a question or wish to place an order via phone? Call us at 716-543-3323. If you have comments to share about this episode, follow our phone menu prompts to reach our Mystic Access podcast comment line. Email us at info@mysticaccess.com and connect with us on social media. Mastodon, mysticaccess.online, and facebook.com/Mystic Access and Power. Would you like to spread the word about our podcasts? Anyone may explore our extensive archives and subscribe to receive our bi-weekly episodes at mysticaccesspodcast.com. If you enjoy our content, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for spreading the word and for being a listener. We hope you enjoyed this episode.